You've been paying off your mortgage for years. Every single month, you go in, you make your monthly payment on time, yet 5 years have gone by and you go look at your principal loan balance and it's barely even moved. And it can be frustrating because you did every single thing right. You never missed a payment, but you're not alone. So let me tell you what's really going on. Now, a 30-year mortgage is one of the things that truly makes America great. It maximizes home ownership for the masses, and it was developed after the Great Depression to really help maximize home ownership and provide affordable monthly payments, and it does that. The problem is that this shouldn't be a one-size-fits-all solution. People have different situations going on in their lives. Some have heavy cash flow, some have disciplined savings, some need that lower monthly payment. Others do not. First, let's dive into why it feels impossible to pay off your mortgage. So when it comes to paying off your mortgage, there's something called an amortization schedule. And what this is we have a fixed monthly payment, but how it's allocated changes. So in this example, I'm using $600,000 on a 30-year term at a 6.25% interest rate. In this case, the principal and interest payment is $36.94. Now, if you look, that doesn't change. For the rest of 2026, we got $36.94. 2027, $36.94. What changes is our principal and interest. Every single month, a little bit more of that payment goes towards principal and a little less goes towards interest. But if we go down even 5 years, we're still barely making a dent. Every single month, we're making our monthly payment and only a small amount is going towards principal, and that's called amortization. Now, a lot of people think of a mortgage as 3 parts. You have interest rate, you have principal, and then you have time. But really, I want you to flip that, because if you can shorten the time that it takes to pay down the principal, the rate becomes a lot less important. And there's a second layer that's going to hurt you a little bit more. Making those payments, and that little bit is going towards your principal. In your checking account, you're getting deposits every single month. And until you move that money, or you invest it, or spend it, it's sitting there doing nothing for you. More money will flow through an average person's checking account in 5 years than the entire principal balance on their loan. So you've got 2 things happening at once. You're paying a lot of interest on a mortgage. It's almost entirely front-loaded, and you have money sitting in a checking account doing nothing. And that is exactly why the all-in-one loan was built. And it's not a conspiracy. It's not too good to be true. What it does is it combines the mortgage and a checking account and makes them one. Every single dollar that you earn goes into your checking account and pays down your mortgage that exact same day. The interest is calculated daily as opposed to monthly like a traditional mortgage. So if I make $10,000 for that month, it just paid down my mortgage $10,000. Attached to my house, I'm going to have bill pay, checks, and a debit card like a traditional checking account that I can use at any time. And when I spend money, it's going to be pulling from my mortgage. So my mortgage is going to go up. But the longer I let that money sit in the account, the less interest I pay over the life of the loan. And let's dive into how that works. So I'm going to do a purchase on a primary residence with a new traditional loan. Okay, and now let's compare this versus the all-in-one loan. So on the all-in-one loan, we have a primary residence. We're going to do this on a $720,000 home, but at a $600,000 loan balance. So it's similar to the amortization I just showed you. We have a 6.25% interest rate. Here's that monthly payment. I'm going to say this person makes, let's go $38.50. So we're close to that $100,000. We're close. Bi-weekly, okay? This person has $5,000 sitting in their checking account on average because they still like to invest. They move money to a brokerage account. They do different stuff like that, okay? So we got $100,000. Let's say this person gets maybe a 10%. So we'll say $10,000 annual bonus. So we got the framework. We got estimated taxes and insurance, and that means I have about $4,500 left over after this monthly payment and after taxes and insurance. Now, every single month, let's say this person spends about $3,000. Let's say $3,000. We'll say $3,500. It's expensive out here. So $3,500. In this case, in this scenario, this person will pay off their house with the all-in-one loan in 9 years as opposed to 30 years. They're going to save $480,000 in interest over the life of the loan. And if we look at the paydown graph as a monthly payment, The 30-year fix stayed the same right here. The all-in-one loan, the payment actually went down because it's interest only that's determined on the principal balance of the loan. So as they pay down the loan, the less their payment is. This is built over a 30-year draw. So your payment goes down, but this blue line represents your credit limit. So you can pay down your loan, and by year 10, your loan's paid off, but you have a credit limit of $600,000. After year 10, that's going to reduce by 1/240th every single month until the 30th year, when they want this line of credit closed out. Meanwhile, your 30-year fix is doing what your 30-year fix does, helping you have an affordable monthly payment. Now, if I look at the pay down summary, this person had a 6.25% interest rate. On your all-in-one loan, we're going to dive into interest rates, but your effective APR, which is the actual cost of borrowing money, was 2.465%. That is like getting an interest rate during COVID here in 2026. Now, the craziest part, all these scenarios are built off of our highest margin. So the way the interest rates work on the all-in-one loan is it's a margin on top of the SOFR rate, secured overnight financing rate. So SOFR trends with the federal funds rate. Historically, it's around 2%. Right now, we're at 3.6. So this person has 7.6% rate. Now, they could buy down their margin, right? They could have it as low as 2.5%, or they can have it as high as 4. But let's just keep using 4. So we're looking at worst case scenario in this case. If I go to the historical chart, the federal funds rate has averaged 1.8% over the last 25 years. That would be the average SOFR rate. The average SOFR rate since 2020 was 2.8%. So whatever your margin is, that is on top of there. So if we have a 4% on top of a 1.8% SOFR, this person would have a 5.8% interest rate. But it's not about interest rate. I want people to flip that. Interest rate is only part of the equation. The APR is the cost of borrowing money, and that is the power of the all-in-one. Now, I don't want you to feel like you're stuck. If you got in with a 30-year fix, or even if you're at a 15-year fixed and you only have 10 years left, right? Running the numbers is absolutely free and there's no obligations. I'm going to include a link at the bottom of this video where you can go in and run your own numbers, or if you want to hop on a call and run them together, we can do that as well. There's no obligations on using it, but if you're someone that has positive cash flow, that saves a little bit more than they spend and could see themselves using this checking account and having their money flow through it, this is the most powerful financial tool available today. So I know it feels impossible to pay off your mortgage, but today we just showed you why it can be possible.